Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to RDTV. Thank you for tuning in. My name's Paul, and for the next half hour or so, I am hopefully going to entertain, delight and enthrall you with my token drive test drive of this Stereo's 1967 Formula Ford Russell Alexis Mk.14 mod for an Assetto Corsa. We're driving this car. It's a new mod, been out about a week or so, came out just before Christmas, and we're racing it on Brands Hatch Indy, which is a venue synonymous with the Formula Ford category of racing, has held the Formula Ford Festival seemingly from the beginning of time, and is a perfect benchmark for us to try these wonderful new cars. So, boom, let's get on track, let's put the mouse away, let's watch for the lights, dip the clutch, build some revs, drop it in a first, and away we go. A little bit fruity off the line, but that's good, we like that. So, the mod. As I say, this is a mod by a RaceDepartment member called Stereo, and it's the, careful, 1967 Formula Ford car in which has been created. It's a free mod. It's available to download now. As I say, it's been out for a week or so now, just before Santa Claus dropped through our chimneys, or entered through the patio doors, or came through the front door, or left a parcel on your doorstep, depending on the setup of your home environment. So it's been out for a little while. There we go. Careful not to interlink wheels and go for a skywards journey there. Not all that smart driving there, Paul. Getting too busy exciting ourselves on different points of entry for Santa Claus. So yeah, been out for a while, about a week or so now, and it's a really high quality mod. In fact, before I talk about the mod itself, I just want to say thank you to Stereo for deciding to bring what is a very excellent car, and something that for me, this sort of era of racing, especially the open wheel variety, is massively underrepresented in sim racing. So for me personally, who makes no bones about the fact I am a fan of historic content, I'm delighted to see a 60s era low horsepower open wheel car come to one of the top racing sims. So that's wicked news. Really pleased about that. And he's done, as Stereo, done very much justice to what was a great category of racing by producing a fabulous mod for AC. So, the mod. Well, first and foremost, something that's worth noting before we go into any detail, it comes with two different tyre compounds. You get the North and the East. Now, if memory serves me correct, the North tyre compound is the 1990s spec Formula tyre. So it comes with those, and the East, which is what we're driving now, which is the 1960s specification rubber. You'll notice from my car and those cars around me, they're not slicks, they're treaded tyres, as they're period correct. And they both offer a slightly different driving experience, but I'm trying to keep it authentic, so I've kept the 60s boots on, because everybody likes a nice pair of 60s rubber behind on their wheels. Not behind, but on them. If your rubber was behind the wheels, you'd be having a very different driving experience than the one I am currently enjoying. Now, Stereo admits in the release notes for this wicked little car that there's about 100 or so of these built in real life, so data's been very difficult to get hold of when creating this mod. And although it is a good, very good period representation physics-wise of the Russell Alexis Mk.14, there has had to be some modernisation, shall we say, of the way the cars are represented due to just the sheer lack of data. So these cars are basically spec'd as if they were running in the Formula Ford Historic Championship, hence the inclusion of the 90s issue grooved tyres under the North option. Now what does that mean to you and I, who are going to drive the mod, it means we're going to have a hell of a lot of fun. It means they are fabulous, really, really alive on the track, these cars. They may only be, do not be fooled by the fact that this is Formula Ford, which historically is a bit of a junior category, a training ground, if you will, for professional drivers and Formula One aspirants. These cars are alive, absolutely, really need to be on the money to drive these. In fact, to be honest, it surprised me how difficult it is to drive these cars at any kind of pace for any period of time without doing something stupid and falling off the road. And that's wicked. That's exactly the sort of thing I like and enjoy in my sim racing. I like things that go sideways without much effort, and these cars do go sideways. They're not the most powerful machines in the world, as you would expect. It's a Formula Ford car, but they've got very little grip, so the power to weight to grip ratio really means you're going to be careful when you're driving them. You're going to be running around on tender hooks, not to get too feisty on brakes, not to get too feisty on the throttle, and not to put too dramatic inputs on the wheel. Now, if I was a better driver that had spent more time behind the wheel, this would be a lot more spectacular looking video, because you can use 1950s, 1960s, heck even 1970s era cars. You use the slide sometimes to actually bring lap time, unlike in modern Formula or GT or touring car racing. Going sideways is going slowly. In these kind of cars, drifting is an essential part of achieving a fast lap time, but I'm just not there yet in terms of confidence or skill or experience in these. So I'm going for the boring Alain Prost approach of keeping it all nice and neat and under control, and just hoping we can do 30 laps of semi-coherent talking, semi-entertaining hopefully talking, while not going off the road too many times to make it an unwatchable experience. But those of you who are more adept behind the wheel than I, or are willing to put the time and effort in, this is the kind of car that's going to reward you. It's really going to pay back dividends, the time behind the wheel, because it's been put together so well. Stereo and his team responsible for the physics of this Formula 4 car have done a really super job. It really does feel like one would expect this type of car from this kind of era to feel behind the wheel. It's, as I've said before, it's flighty. I mean, with this one, I've not done anything to the setup apart from I've knocked a couple of clicks brake bias towards the front, just to give me a little bit easier time on the stop pedal for the car in the rear end wanting to swap round on me. But that's probably a slightly slower way to race the car than would be if you were in a competitive environment, but it just helps me, get around the track a little bit easier. But other than that, I've done nothing to the car setup, and already it comes as default with quite a nice, I'm saying stable and manageable, but that's an inappropriate thing to say for this car, because apart from parked, this car is not stable or manageable. It's quite a lively little race car, as anything from this sort of era generally would be, one would imagine. It wants to bite you. Oh, I've snatched a wheel, but we've kept it. No, we've not kept it. Yes, we've kept it out of the gravel. Yippee-ki-yay. Yeah, it wants to bite you if you've not got full 100% concentration. See, I've snatched a brake again there, but I've got nobody behind. Whoa, that was a good catch. Man, oh man, that was a good catch. Oh, if only I got the camera on the steering wheel rather than plugged into the mains charging up. That would have been, look mum, what I've done moment. Awesome. And that's the thing about these, although they're flighty, although the back end wants to talk to the front end, ideally face to face, it's catchable. The slides are catchable because you are going at a slower speed than you would be in a Grand Prix car. It's a Formula Ford car at the end of the day, so the overall lap time is certainly lower than a Grand Prix or a GT car would be. So it gives you a little bit more time to do something about slides, and the physics and force feedback have been put together so well that you can actually feel what the car's wanting to do and what it's actually doing underneath you. Now I'm running a SimSteering V2 direct drive wheel at the moment, so this is kicking out. It's still not been fully configured for AC yet. There's still some work to go to get it absolutely beautifully perfect. But what it's telling me now, the car, I can feel through this force feedback what the car's telling me to do. I can feel when it's understeering, I can feel when the tyres are sliding over the tarmac really quite well. And for me, it's one of the better force feedback experiences of many of the mods that are out there for AC today, and that's wicked. Really like that, really pleased about that. It's done a really, really good job. So from the physics standpoint, for me, this car, even in its Formula Ford historic series spec, so not quite period 1967, but the modern historics masters category of Formula Ford specification, the physics feel on point. You can tell the amount of work and effort, skill and dedication as well, let's say, that's gone in to producing these cars, or this car should I say, because it's a spec category. They've gone to a really high standard, and seeing as I'm up the gearbox of the chap in front, seems like a good time to talk about it. Look at that 3D model, look at that, look at the suspension working, all the different things in the engine moving. That's attention to detail that makes me smile inside and out. Doesn't that look great? I'm not going to try and pass this fella because I want to look at it some more. And to be honest, I'm probably inviting an accident now by trying to get close to the back end of this guy and not pushing 100%, but holding back slightly. Ooh. Graham Hill bend nearly led to an accident. But look at that. Look at that detail. No stone has been left unturned, it appears to me anyway, in getting a visually massively impressive car. I mean, I've followed this mod on the forum, on the whip thread that's available for it, and I can tell the amount of effort from what we've been posted, the LODs that have been produced, the detail and the attention to detail, should I say, that's gone into the cars is something to be... I had to do that then, so I'm going to hit him. It's something to be applauded, absolutely something to be applauded. They really are visually of the finest calibre, and I think for me it kind of shows AC off in its best light. I think the way the suspension moves from the cockpit cam and also from external cameras in AC just looks beautiful, and it really, I mean, look at that as I'm going over the rumble strip and exiting Graham Hill. It really does show the sim in a very fine light, and this is content for me that's absolutely good enough to be Kunos, absolutely good enough to be default content within the sim. It's that good. I've seen, if I'm honest, little to nothing that I would say is a drawback about this car. I think what Stereo and his team have done is an absolute work of art, and is an absolute pleasure to drive. Physics, top whack. Visuals, the 3D model, the presentation of the car, all first rate. Really solid job. It's got some nice liveries that come with it as standard, although I'm sure the community will step in and create some even bigger and better ones. The AI seems to behave itself, which is impressive in its own right, because the AI in AC is definitely not, I think it's fair to say, industry leading, and these are spongy, softly sprung cars. They're very flighty, they're very rear-endy, so it can be quite difficult, one would imagine, for the AI to keep control of them in racing conditions, and they seem to do a really good job. I've only really driven them for 10 minutes or so prior to this race, and I gave them a little spin at Donington Park as well, which is a mod track by Brun, one of my favourite tracks in the real world, and also one of my favourite tracks in Assetto Corsa. Nearly broke my wrist then trying to save that, but we've kept it on the black stuff, so yippee-ki-yay to me. So yeah, the AI seems to behave themselves as well. The only drawback, if you can consider it a drawback to this mod, is sounds are borrowed from Kunos, from one of the stock content cars, which I can't remember at this moment in time which car that was, so that's a shame. And that seems to be there seems to be in general a lack of sound modders in sim racing at the moment that are willing and able to help out on others' projects. So we're seeing more and more, even from some of the really big name developers, big name modding individuals and modding groups. We're seeing more and more borrowed sound content as that lack of anybody out there that's available to put the work into these mod projects. So that's a shame. So that's a call to all you either current or budding sound modders out there. If anybody wants to step up to the plate and give some of these awesome modding talents out there a hand if they're needed, then do so please, because it's good. I mean, the audio certainly doesn't feel out of place on this mod, and absolutely does not diminish the experience at all, but it's just a shame to have that box still unticked when the quality is so darn high for the whole package itself. But again, that's of no detriment whatsoever to Stereo, his team, and this awesome Russell Alexis 1967 Mk.14, I think it is, Formula Ford car, because it really is of the highest calibre. Oh, I'm not going to save that one. We have. Nice! Hurt my finger, hurt my wrist. Damn! I ain't going to be doing no pencil sketching anytime in the near future. And for those dirty-minded of you out there, that is not a euphemism for anything else. It is genuine pencil sketching, which is not something I do anyway, but that's the only fine detail work with one's hand that I can think of that doesn't put an 18 rating on this video. Yep, direct drive wheels, people. They're amazing, but know the limitations of what you should and should not try and catch, because you can quite easily hurt yourself. Which is why you get a big red stop button with pretty much every direct drive wheel, because there are occasions when the forces through your little round piece of black plastic you hold in your hands are just too great even for the strongest of us. Oh, there we go, using more slip road than I would ideally have desired. So, do I like this mod? Yes, I do, because number one, that's why I'm featuring it. I have no interest in featuring things I don't like, I only feature things I do like. Is it well done? Heck, yes, it's well done. It's very well done indeed. Does it look the part? Yes, it does. Does it feel the part? Categorically, yes it does. It's a really high quality mod, and Stereo and everybody involved in Stereo's team to bring this thing to life in Assetto Corsa must be applauded for producing something of the absolute highest quality. I cannot praise it enough. I absolutely love it. I'm running the 60s tyres, so that gives me plenty of that sort of action, which is the kind of sim racing fun I enjoy. Let's go sideways now to some track. Yeah, it's a fabulous piece of kit. I'm looking forward to spending much more time in this car across a wider variety of tracks. There's one or two now period correct circuits in Assetto Corsa. Some of them are from Kunos, so we've got Silverstone, of course. There's some really good pay mod historic tracks from Sergio Loro as well there. Hockenheim, if I remember. I think there's a version of Zandvoort as well. And I dare say a couple of others. Fat Alfie has gone out there and built some beautiful historic content as well. We've got Lilski's Bridgehampton and Riverside there. old school tracks that are really worth a shout out, and there are others too which just escape my mind at this moment in time, so please forgive me if you're a track creator that's made a quality historic circuit. I'm not forgetting you on purpose. It's my apologies. I'm sure they're all of equally exceptional standards and quality, and yeah, I love this sort of thing, so I'm chuffed to bits to see a car like this coming out for AC. I'm curious as to why a lot of people have gone into the pits. I don't quite know what that's about, whether that's accident damage or a fueling issue. I'm not too sure, so I'm not going to pass this guy because I want to look at him. So I'll just hold back on the brakes a little bit, keep it to the inside. Let's get back up his gearbox and have a look at that. That's some good quality modelling work, is that? I can look at these kind of cars all day. These are, in my eyes anyway, the beauty is very much in the eye of the beholder. But for my mind, these cars, visually, just absolutely trumps anything of the modern era. You can't get better than this. It's just mechanical. There's no junk on it. There's no stupid wings and appendages. There's no overly complex hybrid turbo engine system. It's just simple mechanical engineering, nuts, bolts and screws. And that's what motor racing should be. I'm using my Huskenveld sequential shifter and heel and toe, because heel and toe is the only way to drive a racing car in my opinion. I suspect period correct would have been H pattern in these cars, but I've just bought the sequential shifter and I really want to use it because it's an amazing piece of kit. So can't really beat it, to be honest. This is sim racing as it should be. This is motor racing people, as it should be. Emphasis on a motor, not an electronic power unit, not KERS or HGI VC7F4 912 or whatever the heck they call those stupid things in Formula 1 cars nowadays. This is just good. I say clean, but it's not clean. It's environmentally unsound, but it's good engineering going motor racing, as it should be. The kind of thing that your normal, everyday person like us can unscrew and put back together again and get some semblance of understanding about, rather than needing a laptop to diagnose a fault. I remember a day when you took a car to a garage and there was something wrong with it, people fixed it with spanners and hammers. Now you need laptops and diagnostics and people in white coats to look at things and tell you need expensive computer parts for several £100, when back in the day you could have nicked it from a scrapyard and screwed it on yourself and you had it fixed. But things move on, of course they do, and that's why sim racing's awesome, because we're not limited by what society thinks is correct nowadays. We can drive, create and enjoy yesteryear once again, like we are doing now. 1967 Formula Ford, breeding ground for many a future professional racing driver and Formula 1 driver as well. A wonderful series. To be fair, Formula Ford has stayed fairly true to its origins, so it still is a good little breeding ground, although it's going through some hard times, or has gone through some hard times. I'll be honest, I've not really followed it for the last few years, as grids seem to drop off dramatically in the last few years, and I got caught out by early braking. Never mind, get it back on track. We were starting to ramble anyway, so that's probably a good enough time to refocus our attention and bring this talk and drive to an end. So, this is the Russell Alexis Formula Ford Mk.14 from 1967, created and brought to Assetto Corsa as a free mod content by Stereo and his team of dedicated sim racing modders. It's available now to download from RaceDepartment.com, so just head over to the Assetto Corsa section of the downloads, look at the cars, the mods there, Please do leave a rating and a comment when you do download the car after you've tested it. Give Stereo the encouragement you think it deserves, or the feedback you think the mod requires as well, because that's a nice, useful tool for modders to understand how the community feels about the projects in which they create. And yeah, that's pretty much for me. I'm 5 laps from the end, so we'll probably wrap it up now. So yeah, this has been RDTV. This has been another token drive in another really, really top quality mod. You've been watching this first on Race Department TV Twitch. This will also be archived on our YouTube channel, so do me a big favour if you can. Give us a like, a subscribe and a follow on our Twitch and YouTube channels, please. I've been Paul Jeffrey, this has been RDTV. I really hope you've enjoyed this 20-25 minutes or so of hooning around Brands Hatch in Kent, driving an historic Formula Ford race car. And until next time, people, please remember, sim racing's awesome. So are you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for giving some of your precious time to listen to me ramble on. Until next time, see you later, folks. Bye bye. Thanks very much.